Hello, hello. Okay, hopefully this sounds okay. If my mic's a little bit off, let me know. Sometimes it turns off randomly, but regardless, we are here. We are in the first series of the day. Potentially, we'll have a second. We will see. But we are in Div B East. Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge versus Ground Up. And I finally managed to get it to work. We got the standings. Allegedly, anyway. But it does have 2 pages, so that's why it's kind of a little bit off right now. But as we can see over here, it's 8 teams. Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge and Ground Up. They're yet to play. This is just going to be their first game of the season. So being able to get a domination would actually throw either of these 2 teams straight into first place. So would definitely be a big opportunity for both these 2 teams. But regardless, we've already talked to all the teams. We've already been thrown into the lobby, and we've already selected our maps. Now, the first pick was taken by Ground Up as they won the coin toss, and the first map bans. So Braxis and Volskaya were banned by Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge, and Sky Temple and Towers of Doom were banned by Ground Up. Which basically is just continuing to say that I will never be able to cast Sky Temple match. 40 games in the NGS, not a single game in Sky Temple. But now, with that being said, the first map is Tomb of the Spider Queen, picked by Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge. Now, we should be going into the game pretty soon. We're just waiting on one more player, allegedly, in the chat. That's what it says. But going into this game, we've been seeing a lot of Tomb of the Spider Queen just throughout this entire week, a little bit in Nexomania before the season started. And a huge part of these games so far has been like, it's really been within the tanks. I've noticed that a lot of power has come from the offlane Blaze and Corrosive X. Thank you very much for the Prime subscription. I normally don't do callouts once we're in game, but we're not in the game quite yet, so feel happy doing it. But I feel like a lot of it has been the offlane Blaze and overall the tank matchup on Tomb of the Spider Queen. I haven't seen too much coming out of the carries yet. And maybe it's just because of the new patch, maybe it's just because of the new playstyles, but I've definitely been noticing that the tanks have really been the ones controlling the games. And they are always supposed to be kind of the engaged tools. But I've noticed both on the winning side and the losing side, it's really been the tanks that have been affecting the outcome. Where sometimes the tanks get caught out, and I've noticed that even right now with like the Varian Stukov combination, obviously it's been around for forever, but I've been seeing it basically every single day. And it can melt even tanks now. And a lot of people, like, I feel like they're underestimating how much power you can have within that combo at this point. And at the same time, I think kind of overestimating how tanky tanks really are right now. So it's really been entertaining to watch. I'm excited to see how the meta shifts this season because there's been a decent amount of patch changes between Season 18 and 19, specifically affecting stuff like Zul'jin, Oriel, Johanna to a much lesser extent, and Dahaka not being affected at all for some reason, which I'm sure still baffles most, if not all, players. Now, Dahaka, I think, has basically had a 100% pick ban ratio in every single game that I've cast so far. So it is pretty interesting that the janitor has not really done anything about it yet. And I think with Johanna getting nerfed with all the percent max HP damage threats, for the scattering arrow build for Hanzo, for Manticore over on Vala getting nerfed, I think in general it's really lowered, or it's really increased the power of Dahaka, because Dahaka has a high health bar. All of the usual things that would kill him have gotten weaker, and all the other super powerful heroes have gotten weaker. Dahaka's the only one that's kind of left out. But I'm not going to go too hard about it because it does seem like both teams are ready and we should be heading into our first draft momentarily. I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be the first B East game that I've been casting, so looking forward to getting into this division. All right, and we are in Tomb of the Spider Queen between Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge and Ground Up. Johanna going to be an instantaneous first ban from Ground Up. And I'm going to be a broken record about this. I know I say this every single day, every time I cast, but Johanna, still very powerful despite the nerfs to the blind build. She's definitely no longer like the absolute best. There are situations where you can play into it. There are ways to kind of play around it. But it was a good nerf in the sense that she's still very much viable. Now, White Mane getting banned away by Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge. This one is a more interesting ban. This is usually targeted, I think. Because White Mane overall is a strong healer. And I have noticed a little bit more White Manes getting played. The Scarlet Aegis is an incredibly powerful ability when used correctly. But still not a common ban. As we see the Stukov and the Garrosh being the final two bans. And speaking of Oriole is going to be the very first pick. Nick's going to lock that in for themselves. Oriole's gotten a lot of buffs. Has much stronger heals. And does lose a little bit of the energy gain early on. I believe one of the talents no longer counts for minion damage. But still can output a ton of healing. And now Blazin' Junkrat going to get locked in for Krinovast and Sailor Twift. That's going to be a fun name to say while casting today. But it's going to be the Zul'jin and the Ragnaros. So Ground Up, just kind of taking every single hero that's been touched in the patch notes. I don't think Ragnaros was, but Zul'jin and Oriole, definitely the two biggest changes in the last patch. Zul'jin, okay, so I'm still waiting for people to come to a consensus on this because some people still play Zul'jin as an auto attacker. Some people play the kind of as a pseudo caster with the twin blades and all that. And I'm curious to see like if this continues going through, like if Zul'jin keeps getting picked throughout the season. I'm curious if there's going to be a set build that people kind of settle to as the standard. Obviously, there's going to be some deviation from it, no question about it, but it's always been my interest to watch these builds, to watch these metas develop right after patches. It's one of my favorite parts. But now, Anubarak and ETC going to get banned away by both these two teams. So, Krinovast most likely going to be taking that Blaze into the offlane. At least that's what Ground Up is saying. Blaze typically is played as an offlane more often than a tank, but definitely can still main tank. And with that, Chernobyl on Diablo and Kurama on Decker. That will definitely answer that question. High percent HP. There are some HP damage dealers left in the game. They could look for even Avala, honestly, with Manacore, but Tychus is available. Might be a little bit more difficult with Zul'jin. You probably want someone more of a flex rather than just a clear DPS. And Arth is going to be picked for the tank and Gazlo, so it's going to be the double bruiser comp from Ground Up with Arthas as main tank. That's a really, really interesting pick here. I'm trying to think how they're planning on getting this to work. My issue right now looking at their team comp is it's going to be very difficult to lock down Junkrat for Ground Up. I don't think they have any really good answers to that hero. But at the same time, I think it's going to be very difficult for Blaze and Diablo to play. When there's two very short-range heroes, the Arthas really does provide a lot more benefit. And Maiev going to be the 10th pick for Michelin? Something like that. But these are the two drafts. I'm not sure who I favor because I think the front line is better for Ground Up. Kind of has an easier gameplay, but the back line is going to be hard to reach for Ground Up. So definitely a pretty even draft here, but we're going to see who's going to come out on top in game number 1. All right, and we are on the map. We are on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Very small map, so having a lot of mobility doesn't really add too much here. Being global doesn't really matter too much. And I also just realized Dehaka, I believe, actually went through this entire pick ban phase. But this is definitely not one of those maps that Dehaka is good on. Dehaka much better on the vertical map, so not too much of a shock here. Is a very powerful hero even without the Brush Stalker, but not necessarily pick ban on this map. Now, I always dream of this camera movement working. Both the two teams are going to be grouping up towards mid lane, and both are finally going to be clumped. But will the fight actually get started here? So far, not too much. And it's interesting to note as well that Fangs on the Zul'jin doesn't need to auto attack quite as much as before. It's no longer completely reliant on it. Has a lot more base auto attack damage, and each individual auto attack stack gives a lot less. Now Sir Noble just kind of taking a little bit of poke, but it doesn't matter too much. And both teams are going to start moving towards the opposite lanes. Now I am curious how they're going to set this up. So it is going to be Your Majesty in the off lane as they get started on to Sir Noble. Sir Noble getting taken out quite low, but Rana going to get hit back with a concussive mine, but will be okay. Both the tanks kind of getting chipped away at, but definitely no one in lethal range or anything like that. Now Rana is hiding in the bush, does see Sailor Twift, but once again, no action's going to be coming through from here. Your Majesty is aware that there's going to be the roam coming through. Jet propulsion going to go wide. So respects that, moves backwards a little bit. And now Krynavas might be stuck on the wrong side. Does pop the stim pack. And jet propulsion once again going to go wide. And they're able to knock them into the wall. Krynavas going to take a lot of damage and will be taken down as first blood. Your Majesty also kind of on the wrong side of things, but will be able to just walk away. Without the blaze, they don't have enough damage here. And Sailor Twift is on the opposite side, kind of collecting the XP, the soak over on the top side. So not going to be enough DPS for that play. So first blood going over to ground up, but the camp did go to Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge. So they will have that push for themselves as we do go to a short little pause, hopefully. This guy's still be nervous. Yeah, I typically try not to show the in-game chat just because some players like to say some stupid things. Nothing bad, but probably something just to keep on their own end. But I do have to keep track of it so as kind of get an idea of how long the pause is going to be. Yeah, it looks like they're going right back into the game momentarily. And looking at the state of things, Sir Noble actually decently low over in the bottom half. And with that first blood, they do have not a huge lead in terms of gems, but definitely meaningful. They do have 2 waves pushing into them, so they're going to be able to grab a little bit more. So they're about 6 gems above Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge. And now it looks like they're putting more pressure towards the bot side. Rana and Your Majesty are going to be here, but could potentially be looking towards the Bruiser camp, but not yet. They decided they want to have pressure in the lanes instead in Fangs. Speaking of which, should be looking at this build. So it is going to be Recklessness. Will be giving a lot more magic power. But, oh, look at that. Fangs is going to get hit over to the back with the Shadow Charge. And now Michael again going to try pulling it back. And the Ensemble not going to come out in time. Ramo trying to get some damage onto Sailor Twift, but it's not going to happen. And Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge gets the first kill for them this game. And with this Bruiser camp shoving in, they might even be able to get a bit more with that. The overpower used on Renmo. Shadow Charge pulling them further back, but the root lands onto all 3 members and is a bit tanky, but Army of the US is going to be knocked back into the trap as well. But do they have any cooldowns? The overpower is coming through. Jet propulsion doesn't land, but the Shadow Charge will Army Thieves take a lot of damage. And actually, Rano's going to be the one that's going to go down, potentially. No, but Army of the US gets knocked right back in, and that concussive mine, 2 of them in a row, as 1 more will go down. Ranmo gonna follow in that, and Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge gets 2 kills in that play. And the concussive mines have been so valuable. The concussion mines, sorry. They've been able to get not just 1 good knockback, but in that one same team fight, they were able to knock back Army of the US twice and Ranmo once. That's 3 whole plays from 1 ability and 1 player. And that kind of really brings out the power of the Junkrat. The displacement, the safety you get with the traps as well. And they are going to be able to get the turn in for the Web Weavers. They're going to start their push now. They're grouping towards the mid lane. Concussion mine. Not going to knock them in any dangerous location, but will definitely reposition them a little bit. Now the Web Weavers are here. The main push is happening over in this mid lane. 4 members strong. And now Michael again got to be able to push them back in. An army of the US is going to get rooted by the Scroll of Sealing, but the healing from Nyx is there. So we'll take a little bit of poke damage, about half the HP. So I guess more than a little bit, but not going to go down again. But they have taken down the gate. And actually a solo kill in the offlane. Carnivast takes down the Ragnaros. But now Rondo kind of getting body blocked by Sir Noble. And with the Shadow Charge, able to throw them into the wall. But Rondo's just going to walk away. Has that slow. And that's kind of what I was talking about with the Arthas. It is going to be a little bit difficult for them to chase down the Arthas. But if they're going to be able to continuously catch people with the concussion mines, that's not really going to be a worry for them. And we are kind of seeing Sailor Twift has been very safe so far this entire game. And now Fangs and Nyx, the two of them are going to hit the Bruiser camp. Your Majesty going to come in and help out a little bit as well, as the Siege camp is going to get taken by Michaelin. Now the push is coming through on the top side for Daddy Champ's Cat Lounge. Just looking towards the cannon towers. The wall over in this top side. Didn't get too much with the Web Weavers over in this lane. But overall, they got a couple sets of walls. But now, Fangs might be getting a little bit caught out, but will not be. They're Noble gonna get hit again. And the, what is that ability called again? The Detainment Strike gonna knock them away. Sir Noble not gonna be able to continue on with the play. Now your Majesty trying to walk forward. Gonna get hit by the Shadow Charge and with the Overpower into the Scroll of Sealing. And the Concussion Mine throwing your Majesty back. But the fight's gonna come out and level 10s are here. And Fangs is getting hit, and with the Riptire gonna get finished off. One more kill for Daddy Champ's Cat Lounge, and the level 10s definitely making an appearance there. The Lightning Breath is there. The Warden's Cage has been there, and Ronald once again just trying to walk away and should be fine as the Arthas, but the heroic abilities definitely coming out clutch there. Now Sir Noble trying to just walk forward. Ronald trying to keep them away at the same time is a little bit difficult. And Ragnaros is going to show up here, just try and help clear this wave. The bottom fort is gone now, was taken down during all of that. As Fangs just auto-attacking onto Sir Noble. Has 13 stacks, and incidentally, this is no longer infinite stacking. The stacks are important to be able to get the double twin cleave, so that it goes twice. So, but other than that, the amount of attack damage you get from it isn't that high. It's 0.25 per stack. But they do have the root, and they have the extra stun. Sir Noble gonna get hit. Do they have enough DPS? So that's the issue. It is a tanky Diablo, but they have more than enough damage. When all 5 members are just wailing on the Diablo, there will be the kill. That was just souls. So Sir Noble will be back, but that is pressure, and they do have enough gems for turn-in. I believe they may need some from Your Majesty, and Your Majesty was not there for the turn-in. Is in position now, but Sir Noble is already looking for the fight, and Fang's gonna dodge away in the jet propulsion, and the Summon Cinder Goza has been used for the huge slow, and the bunker, and look at that! They pulled everyone in, but the sleep has come through. Do they have the DPS Lightning Breath over in the backside? And they are able to take down the Arthas, so that is gonna be a 1-0 for Daddy Champ's Cat Lounge. But the Gravitron, the Grav Bomb, sorry, it dealt so much priority there, landing on all 5 members. But they were not able to follow up with enough damage over top of it. And these fights have been so close, but Sir Noble gonna continue it on. They're able to pull back hard with the US, but it's actually going to be the Maya that goes down. Michaelin gonna be the one taken, and the Crystal Age is perfectly timed to prevent the stun. Chronovast looking for the play, and that one Chronovast did land, just the Crystal Aegis was there in time. But the Blue Web Weavers, even if they're not able to get that pick, they will still be able to summon them. Level 13's on the horizon for them as well, so they will have a talent timer on top of this push. So there is going to be the main push over in the bot side, but Ranma looking for a play. Chronovast able to land the jet propulsion, and with that, they're going to pull Fangs all the way back. Just a little bit more damage, and Fangs will go down, and that's going to be yet another kill. Scroll of Sealing going to land. As Rana Rano and Nyx going to be able to walk away, and the bunker gonna get utilized just to help push down this fort. And this fort definitely gonna go down, but how much more can they get? The mid lane Web Weaver has already been taken down, so it looks like it's just gonna be this, unless they want to overwhelm the mid lane just with sheer numbers. They still have HP, could look to start poking on the wall instead, but they will start roaming down towards this mid lane. Now the DPS is coming in. They're going to start hitting onto it, but Chernobyl looking for the fight. Is going to get knocked away. Grab a bomb. Going to land on it too. Summon Cinder goes over top. And Critivast getting glow. Same with Chernobyl. Stay a while and listen. Gonna get utilized. And may actually save Chernobyl. But one more shot from the fort will get that kill. Your Majesty still following through. Trying to stop them. And the root will land from Rano. But Rano not able to follow up. Kurama getting so low. Just a little bit more damage from Fangs. But they don't have it. Michael, the only one that might be in a dangerous situation, and does get Detainment Striked into the wall. Just a little bit more damage, a couple more autos. Warding Cage does come out, and it's going to be a 1-for-1, but Rano is still there. Concussion Mine throws them back, trying to get the slope of the Lightning Breath over top, but the healing, 30 HP. Nyx doing everything they can to keep Rano alive, and Rano dodges so many of the grenades, but not able to dodge the very last one, as the keep goes down to the top side as well. And what started as a good play for ground up, it just, they needed to force something. I definitely agree on that play. It did look like somewhat of an overextension, but I think when you're this behind on a map that is snowball you like Tomb of the Spider Queen, you have to play aggressive. If there's a 30% chance play, you go for it. That 30% could be your ticket back into the game. So I respect ground up for still playing aggressively despite the deficit. Now it's a level and a half lead right now for Daddy Champ's Cathlon. Just barely not in time to steal away this Bruiser Camp. So that will be secured for ground up. They're going to continue on this defense. They even have a little bit of a push with this Bruiser Camp. But it's going to be 5-on-5 in the mid lane. Only needs 6 more gems for the turn-in. So if they can get a little bit of pressure, only Fangs has enough for that, I believe. Army of the US also does as well. So if one of them can sneak a turn-in, they could start setting out their Web Weavers, as level 16 has been hit by Daddy Shamp's Cat Lounge. There is a little bit of a siege camp over the bot side. That's going to get cleared away by Your Majesty. And another wave is on its way in the mid lane. Still a full level away from that level 16 talent. Now, they're pretty far on gems for Daddy Shamp's Cat Lounge, so it will be difficult for them to start to really pressure anything here. Sir Noble looking for the play, but not going to happen. They do land the root, and it lands on his Sailor Twift, and Sailor Twift is going to go down, and that's the person they've been having the most trouble getting on top of. Now, Rano's still sitting over top of everyone. Army of the US is fighting against Grenavast over on the top side, but it's not happening. Summon Cinder Ghost are going to be hit onto Sir Noble. Sir Noble is now rooted, gets hit, and so much damage landing onto both of these tanks. Sir Noble is healing back up, and Michelin trying to pull them back, but not going to be able to. Jet Propulsion by Grenavast. Stay a while and listen, lands Lightning Breath over top, but it's just going to reset the fight. No one else is going to go down, but ground up, getting a kill for themselves, able to push out the lane. That's big for them. And Army of the US gonna be able to turn in the Web Weavers here too. With this, they should be able to safely get themselves that level 16 talent and maybe close the level gap at least a little bit. They do have pretty large waves to catch as well, and that's definitely going to help out with the level lead that Daddy Champ's Cat Lounge currently does have for themselves. Now, the Bruiser Camp is available. They're probably just waiting for the Web Weaver to be in the correct spot for it, as they do end up locking it in. The Bruiser Camp is on the way, and they're just going to use this to help solidify the defense over on this mid lane. Now, Kernavast gonna get spotted, but Ronald not going to be able to land anything onto it. Yeah, Howling Blast. Sorry, I'm just learning the names for a lot of these abilities. It's been a while since I've cast HOTS. And a lot of these heroes definitely were not meta in Season 18. But now they do have the Howling Blast going to land on top of a Riptire, looking over the top and going to land on all 5. So it's a good chunk of poke damage, but not going to be able to do anything else. So the Detainment Strike does land, and look how fast the Diablo goes down. Kurma does get to stay a while and listen. Gravel Bomb going to land onto Noah, and Kurnovest able to get the Jet Propulsion, but only on Toronto. Summon Cinder goes, got to get it utilized, and Kurma in a pretty bad spot. No longer has to stay a while and listen, but does have a lot of space to run away. Dorano gets knocked back. Michael getting taken down to about half HP. Tries to jump away, and the Crystal Age is utilized. And Rano will get finished up, but Army of the US is able to snipe down the backline. And now they're also going to be able to take down the Junkrat. Kurama's the last one alive, trying to run away, but it's just an old man. Nowhere to go. Deckard Kane going to get taken down, and it's a 5-for-1 for ground up. And they've definitely brought this game back. The level lead is no longer there. They do have enough gems for the turn-in. They could look for a boss. They could look to just push down the mid lane. They have a lot of options right now. And it does look like they are aiming for the boss. And I think that probably is the best call here. I think that's what's going to give them the most value. They can take the boss and then turn in. So very big team fight for them. They were able to get so much value out of it. Now the stomp is going to be coming through, but going to get dodged away. And with this boss, they should be able to get at least the top lane fort. And if they're also able to pair it with the web weavers, they can get a lot of value cross map, because you can't ignore the boss. If it's one web weaver that spawns, like for example over here, you can ignore it for a while. The same is not true with this sand golem. The sand golem going to be dealing a ton of damage towards everything here. Now the push is coming out. All 5 members for ground up here at the top side. The boss is just wailing away onto the forts, and the Riptire is going to come out. Just going to be used to poke down the boss primarily. They're trying to kill it as fast as possible. But Summon Cinder goes, and now goes off into the backline. Michael going to get hit with the ground bomb. No, but they don't need the ground bomb to take down the Junkrat. Lightning Breath going out over the top, but the Crystal Age just comes out. And with the Detainment Strike, they're going to hit Sir Noble, and Sir Noble's gone as well. And the stun, and even more damage landing onto the Blaze, and they were able to get another 3 kills for themselves. Now Sir Noble is back with the souls, but that's still going to be a boss plus a web weaver push. Army of the US gonna get knocked back. Scroll of Sealing is going to land with a pullback from Michaelin onto Rano, as a lot of damage is landing onto Michaelin, but not going to be able to get the last couple hits on it. Your Majesty now goes out of the passive form and will be coming through, and the Howling Abyss not going to land on a Michaelin. But that's still a massive play for them. They managed to tie the building damage, but Your Majesty is still fighting with Sir Noble. I thought the play was over, but it definitely is not. The Howling Wave. What is that one again? The Howling Blast. There we go. Does land on a Sir Noble, but that's all they're able to get. But they got the fort in the mid lane. They got the fort, and they keep in the top lane. The wall as well. Bot lane, however, hasn't gone that great for them. The Web Weaver not really able to accomplish too much there. But they've still mostly evened out the buildings over across on the map. And both teams now at level 20. So the XP deficit that Ground Up had, they've managed to come back from. They're only really behind in terms of that bottom fourth. That's it. And it's not that big of a deal, especially at this stage of the game. Now, neither side has enough for turn-in, but the siege camp is going to get picked up. All 5 members of Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge are in the bot lane, but the teleport does come through for Fangs. Shadow Charge into the overpower, but there's no follow-up quite yet. Army of the US is going to peel for Fangs, but now the fight over on the backline is going to be happening. The ground bomb gonna land, but look at that. Sir Noble going to get absolutely blown up. Stay a while and listen has been used, but everyone has been woken up. The Warden's Cage is going to be coming through, and Michael is going to go down. Kratovas, just a little bit of HP, but will get shoved back. And the damage from Sailor Twift is coming out, and it's just going to be a 2-for-2. However, there is a Bruiser camp pushing mid lane, so something to watch out for. Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge, they can't overextend too much on this play, or they will lose their mid lane keep. They're going to come back, they're going to clear this away, and then they can start looking towards the next play. Now, they're going to burn it down, so it's not going to land any damage onto their keep, but they definitely needed to come back then and there. It would not take too long for that Bruiser camp to absolutely shred through that keep. The Bruiser camp also going to get taken down by Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge. And Ground Up still staying strong as a group of 3, not letting any of their members get caught out. And I think that's a very good way of trying to play this. Right now, they don't really have to worry too much about their lanes. They don't need to worry too much about soak. They just need to make sure they have safety in numbers. Now, everyone else gonna respawn right now. Michaelin with the Umbral Bind. That's the ability name I kept forgetting. But now all 5 members gonna be coming here. I assume everyone's gonna be grouping towards mid. But no one else has walked in quite yet. The Bruiser camp is gonna be facilitating this push for Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge. And the Riptire gonna be coming out just as a zoning tool. Will land onto 2. It's just going to be a little bit of poke damage, which will get healed up immediately by Nyx. They will get a decent chunk of the gate down as Summon Cinder goes. They're going to get thrown out. They do have the root. The bunker's getting utilized. And Sailor Twift gets taken down to half HP. And they're fighting beside a 4. And Michael is going to get pulled back in. And the grab bomb going to land on a 3. But the lightning breath is on to all 5 members. But it doesn't matter. They have the healing. They have the shield. And Chronovast trying to stay alive. Sir Noble just trying to get onto Nyx, but will get peeled off. And now Sir Noble will go down as well. Does have the souls, so it is still 4v5. Chronovast tried to walk forward with the jet propulsion, but not going to be able to get it. And what a close fight, but the Howling Blast does land, and they're on to Chronovast. And Stay a While and Listen has been thrown out by Kurma, but do they have any other ability? Kurma gonna get hit with the strike, but Rana was silenced at that moment and is taking so much poke from Sailor Swift as Kurma almost gets blown up. Now Fangs is in the back line, is still alive. It gets the cleanse and gets the heal, so close to going down. And the explosive mines are going off in the back line, but Army of the US not able to get the stuns. But what a close team fight yet again. But Ground Up got the 1 kill for themselves. They got the lane pressure. And I thought they were going for Turnin, but it looks like they're aiming for the boss. Going to be a little bit dangerous because all 5 members are up for Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge. They could try and bait a fight here, or they could just try to burst it down. But it looks like a fight is going to be brewing here. Army of the US almost getting blown up by the boss. And now they're fighting the Riptire going out over the top. Lands onto the back line. In fact, Crystal Age just has to get blown for it. And they do have the stun. Sir Noble and Chronovast kind of getting stuck there. But Rano gonna get blown up there. The first to go down. And Army of the US also 300 HP will get healed up. But the Ragnaros will go down. The boss will get stolen. Lightning Breath over top. And Stay a While and Listen does land onto 2 members. And this might be all she wrote. They're able to get 4 members killed from Ground Up. And Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge, they should be able to end the game here. They have the boss, 40-second death timers. It's just Nyx on a healer. I think we can safely say it's GG, but what an incredible back and forth between these 2 teams. So much damage, and Ground Up almost were able to bring it back. They were definitely behind for most of that game. But after the 1 team fight towards the mid lane, they definitely made it seem competitive. But in the end, it didn't matter. Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge, they win game number 1. And with that, game number 1 is over. Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge. It was their map to pick, and it was their map to win. They did a great job there. And now we're going to go to a short little break. But when we come back, it's going to be game number 2. So don't go anywhere.
soy when I walk, boy.
All right. And we are back for game number 2. This time we're going to Infernal Shrines. And I believe this map was picked by Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge. So first pick will be going to ground up, if I remember correctly. Yes, it is. So that's going to change up the draft at least a little bit, because it is going to be on opposite sides here. Now, red team still looking for their bans, and I am curious if Hogger is going to make an appearance, at least with a ban there. And then at the same time, nope, it's just going to be the same as game number 1. Joanna going to be the first ban from ground up. They do have first pick, and having the first pick does potentially change draft strategies. And Nyx is not getting Oriel again, the Crystal Aegis, and just the overall insane healing. Oriel is so powerful right now. Definitely don't want to deal with that. They managed to beat it, but they don't want to play against it regardless. So the drafts definitely are going to have to change at least a little bit. And with a pick order change, I think it could have a pretty severe effect. I am curious if Dahak is going to come through, and actually both healers going to get banned away. Deckard Cain going to get removed as well from Kurama. And the Scroll of Ceilings and Stay a While and Listens, they were really powerful that game. A lot of just 4 or 5 hero stuns, well, not stuns, but sleeps in that fight, or in that entire game. Kurama able to get a lot of really solid plays there onto that Deckard Cain, and a third healer getting banned away with the white main. So Nyx getting a little bit targeted here. Out of the big ones, Brightwing's still available. Rhaegar's kind of been forgotten and tossed aside. Uther's available. I don't even know. The healer meta's kind of been all over the place depending on each individual team's preference. Stukov, however, was banned away last game and was not banned this game, and that was a big name that I forgot. So Stukov going to be first pick for Nyx. Doesn't have a cleanse, the one weakness of Stukov, but is still very powerful, especially offensively with that lurking arm. It does have the extendo arm and the swipe to help you for the backline.
Here we go again.
Now Chromie going to get locked in for Sailor Twift, and Blaze once again locked in by Chronovast. So it will be that offlane Blaze yet again. And Chronovast was able to perform quite well on that hero. Was a huge tank in the front line. Bunkers really well placed as well. And Blaze just overall super powerful, has strong push, strong wave clear. Just one of the better heroes in the game, if I may say so. But now Gazlow and Garrosh going to get locked in by ground up. Army of the US once again on that Gazlow. Also performed quite well last game. Had multiple gravel bombs landing on all 5 members of Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge. And Garrosh was banned away in game number 1, but going to get locked in by Rano here. And that could definitely make a more offensive team composition. With the Stukov having the Wrecking Ball and the Earth Shatter on the same place could definitely help out quite a bit. In just picking someone off basically immediately. Now the Ragnaros is going to get banned away, so Your Majesty not going to be able to lock that in again. In theory, Zul'jin is still available for Fang, so we could see a return to that. And ETC was banned in the second phase last game and is going to get banned in the second phase this game. Now all 6 bans have been decided, and it's just the last few picks before we head on to map number 2. And going to be entertaining to see who they're going to go for. They still need a tank, a healer, and either a DPS or a flex, depending on how they want to do it. And it is going to be Tehran and Uther. Okay. So, and Sir Noble is on the Uther, so it's going to be a tank Uther, but still, that's a double healer team comp. And I wonder what that's going to change. They're definitely going to have to figure that out for the draft. Melthiel, going to get locked in. It's difficult to play into an Uther. But since Sir Noble's on it, most likely we will not be going the Divine Shield. They're going to be going with that AoE stun. So Last Rites is still going to be a powerful ability. And Zul'jin locked in for Fangs once again just because, well, it's a solid DPS. There's no reason not to run it. It ain't broken. Don't need to fix it. Now, Michaelin was playing them. Mayav last game is kind of the flex on this team. But with just the Chromie may want a bit more DPS, and that's going to give them the more DPS. The Kerrigan locked in. I don't even know if I've ever cast a Kerrigan game, but I'm definitely looking forward to trying it out. These are both pretty interesting drafts. I do think they're both good, too. So I'm not going to favor any one of these two sides. I think it's pretty even as usual. Just going to come down to execution, team cohesion, and willpower as we head into game number 2. All right, and we're on map number 2 between Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge and Ground Up. It is going to be that Infernal Shrines. Now, both teams do seem to be grouping all 5 members towards the mid lane. Gonna have that usual meetup. And we'll see how it goes. I am looking forward to these team fights, but what did surprise me a little bit in this draft is that Dehaka's gone through both of these 2 drafts. Now, on the first map, Tomb of the Spider Queen, definitely don't think it was that necessary to pick. But on this map specifically, boop, little kiss towards Fangs and Nyx. But it's still quite good. So the Earthshatter not going to land onto anyone. I expect they were trying to do the Wrecking Ball combo, just slightly out of range. But now the Jet Propulsion does land onto Your Majesty. And Sir Noble going to get knocked into the backline. They are dealing damage. Michaelin going to get taken quite low as well. Kinovas just taking free autos. Fangs already at 2 stacks. That's really good for the first 30 seconds. Just kind of free hitting this entire time. Now they're going to be able to get first move towards this mid lane. A little bit of a stun. Kurama gonna get thrown into the backline. Do they have any follow-up stuns? They are looking for the stuns. They do have the stuns of the Lurkin Arm. And first blood gonna go over to Fangs. And that Wrecking Ball Earthshatter combination is just so powerful. Especially if you're able to get it onto one of the squishies, onto one of the healers. And they were able to get it during the transition as well. So there just wasn't as much support available from the side of Daddy Shams. Now Rano's just kind of looking at this. They're aiming towards Sir Noble. This is the pseudo tank for this game. And we'll be able to tank up a little bit more with that extra healing as well. Gonna have to top. But in the meanwhile, both sides are on their siege camps. Nick's just kind of soloing it for now. Fangs is going to be here now to help out. The blue side siege camp is going to go down, and the red side one going to follow very shortly after. But Daddy Champ's Cat Lounge immediately going to go over to the bot side. Now, I should learn the ability names here. It is the Primal Grasp into the Impaling Blades combo. But now Rano able to knock them into the backs. Sir Noble going to be there as well, taking free autos. And Rano going to run away and into the fray, going to be used defensively by Rano for Nyx. They haven't been able to take it quite yet, but Sir Noble taking so many autos from Fangs. And with Army of the US here, they should be able to defend on this. And the siege camp not going to go down quite yet. But I'm surprised none of the members went down, but Sailor Twift might. Lurkin Arm over top, gonna have more than enough DPS. And that's going to be a second kill for Ground Up. They're able to get the kills in their favor. Now the siege camp is pushing in a little bit over the mid lane, but not going to deal too much damage. But with that extra kill, they can start looking towards this siege camp. Now Rano kills the time trap and just going to stand in this brush. One more little siege minion available, but Army of the US going to get hit by the Impaling Blades. And now they're trying to take him down. And with the Lunar Flare and the extra stun, I believe that is the Hammer of Justice? Yes. And they're going to be able to get the first kill for themselves on Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge. Now Rano just kind of trying to get in the way, but when you're trying to get in the way 4-on-1, very good Unstoppable. The self-cleanse from the Garrosh. Very powerful in games like this. Their Majesty and Nyx going to be taking the Bruiser camp as Kernavas going to be pushing out the top side. Now the Shrine is active and hasn't been immediately started by the side of Daddy Shams, but Sailor Twift going to start it right now. And the Bruiser camp is going to be pushing over to the top side, so they do have that extra push. Hammer of Justice does land into Your Majesty, but is able to jump away. Sir Noble gets thrown into the backline and is not in a very good position, but the Impaling Blades do land on multiple members, and Fangs is actually the first one that goes down. But now Chronovast might be a little bit too far forward, but does have the Stim Pack and is able to get away just in time from the Earthshatter. Lurkin Arm over top, just going to have the silence, going to have a little bit of the damage. They are fighting back and forth. Time Trap lands onto 2. Michaelin gonna be in the middle of everyone. And Nyx is trying to run away. It is the healer, but Michaelin getting taken out solo. Just a little bit more damage. One more auto, one more, and that's all that was needed. They're able to win the fight. Just barely, and Nyx almost gets blown up. by Kurama. The amount of damage that a Tyranic can bring out is not to be underestimated, as the jet propulsion does come in, lands onto 2. Earthshatter actually lands onto all 4 members. Silence with the Lurking Arm helping zone, and Nyx once again is a little bit low, but Alcurniva's going to get hit with the laser. And the numbers are actually in favor of Daddy Shams, but the overall pushing is in favor of Ground Up. They have the positioning 34-24. This is going to be close. Lurking Arm gonna move them all away. Now the fight's coming through. Jet propulsion over top, and the Impaling Blades do land onto Your Majesty, who will go down. And now the team fight is coming through. They don't have the stun over top, and it does look like Daddy Shams will be able to take it just barely in the end. They lose the first fight, but they're able to just kill so many with Sailor Twift, throwing the Dragon's Breath over the wall. With that, they will secure the Arcane Punisher. Level 7s on both sides. And I should mention, Ground Up had the talent tier advantage for a good chunk of that too. Just very patient, and the double healer team comp really does come into play in situations like that, where if you're trading back and forth, you can take twice as much damage from Daddy Shams before it's an even trade. Now Your Majesty gonna be here as well. Arcane Punisher already gone, looking for the play. Sailor Twift gonna get hit, and now the slowing stands are coming through as well. Lurking Arm over top. They're able to throw Michael into the back, but Michael does have the dash. Back into the Lurking Arm is getting slowed. A little bit more damage, or they will be able to take down Michael. And that's going to be yet another kill for Ground Up. But they do lose their wall. They lose a lot of health on their gate as well. Or on their fort. But not as much damage over the top set as I expected. They did have that bruiser camp pushing during all that. But they will be able to steal this siege camp since they do have the 4v5 here. So they will be able to get themselves a little bit extra. And it's going to help build their... XP lead. It's at about half a level right now, and if Fangs is able to steal this camp as well, well, this one's not really steal. This is kind of a neutral camp. It's in neutral territory. Both teams have equal access to it. But Fangs already at 14 stacks and 13 stacks onto Arcanite Axe. So definitely building that Twin Cleave build. Earthshatter not going to land, but the Unstoppable Cleanse is going to be there. And they're able to throw Chernobyl into the backline. Now Chernobyl needs to run. Fangs is kind of lower. Earthshatter gets thrown as well. But now Fangs getting jumped by Michael and will get taken down. So much damage there, but Akernavas is in a little bit of a pickle. Very low. Earthshatter going to land. One more auto is all that's needed. But now Rano's going to get hit with the stun as well. And the fight is happening over the backline. But they will be okay. So it's a 1-for-1 trade at the end of the day. But level 10s are on the side of Ground Up. But that was a 4v5. Army of the US just pushing out the top side during all this. Gonna get some good damage onto this fort. We'll have to back away as Michaelin does get here. But that fort's going to be at half HP. And now they're also going to be able to secure their own siege camp. Sailor Twift looking for the play, but Ronald's ready to cover. Now Chernobyl gonna get hit by the Twin Cleave, and the Gravel Bomb gonna come through. They're able to get it onto Chernobyl, onto the tank. There's a little bit more damage, but the stun comes out before the toss can happen. Now the Invulnerable does come out, so it is gonna be the Divine Shield actually, and it's Divine Shield with the Maelstrom on Michaelin. But they're still fighting. Neither side has lost any members yet. Ronald gonna get hit by the Dragon's Breath, and it will be enough. The swipe will prevent any further follow-up, but it is going to be a kill going over to Daddy Shams' Cat Lounge. Bunker gonna go down as well, and the Twin Cleave still landing from Fangs and is scaling up. Now Karnavast gonna push out the top lane, and that's where the Shrine's going to be spawning. So having the first play, having the first move in the top side, definitely going to be a benefit for Daddy Shams' Cat Lounge. It is a bit of a slow objective, but now Fangs fighting with Michaelin, but will be okay. But Melthiel in the mid lane is not going to be okay. Sorry about that. I thought the play was happening in the bot side, but it was happening over in the mid lane. And that's a big pick to get. Once again, right as the objective spawning. But now Carnivast does go in. The Earthshatter not going to land, unfortunately. Army of the US will be able to pick up the health orb. And with that, we'll be fine. But it is going to be a short time where it's going to be a 4v5. And Chernobyl looking for the play. Does land the Hammer of Justice. That's all that's going to land. Level 13's not on the board for both these teams quite yet. But the XP lead actually goes back in favor of Daddy Shams' Cat Lounge. It's only by a little bit, but Fangs is a little bit behind on the play. They were maybe considering getting level 13s first, but I think it's close enough that they could just try doing it through the fight, through this top side. After they're able to collect one more wave, and now the team fight is going to get started. Rano looking for the play. Doesn't really have anyone to throw down. The slowing sounds are here, and the Impale on top of it. And Rano getting taken down so low, but they do have the toss. And in the back, Taz Dingo popped. And Michaelin trying to take down Fangs, but Fangs is going to be able to walk away. The Divine Shield utilized onto Michaelin, but the play still coming through. Hammer of Justice over top Army of the US, but it's not going to happen. Your Majesty still trying to fight over in the backline, but the double healer makes this so difficult. Last Strike's got to get hit, and they're going to be able to take down Chernobyl. Now Michaelin looking for Ronwell, but not enough damage, but Michaelin will go down. Now Krinivast is here as well, but Your Majesty taking down Solo, 9 HP, but Fangs just auto-attacking over top, going to dodge away from the Dagger's Breath. Rano looking for the play, but his Solo could get hit with just one more auto and will get taken down. But now Fangs gonna get preemptively cleansed, but is okay. Just walking away from the slowing stance. So it's a 3-4-2, I think, at the end of that long team fight in favor of Daddy Shams. And they're gonna have the push once again. And they got 24 of the skeletons, so they should be able to secure themselves the Frozen Punisher. And with that, they're gonna be able to get themselves a solid push. None of the forts have been taken out quite yet, as Fangs pushes in the mid lane. And I will give Ground Up some credit. No matter what's been happening, they've been making sure that the waves are in their favor. But now Michaelin jumping onto Fangs. Sir Noble's here as well. Does need to run. Will dodge away on the stun, but the Hand of Justice is still there. Taz Dingo not back up, and that's going to be yet another kill for them. And the Frozen Punisher is going to get secured at the exact same time. Now Fangs already at 28 out of 50 stacks. That's going to be what's needed for that double twin cleave. And that's where the damage is really going to start coming through. They're able to get the jump onto Rondo, so the Frozen Punisher is going to start getting DPS. And Sailor Twift is going to get thrown into the backline, but do they have any damage, really? It doesn't seem like Lurkin Arm going to get thrown. Gravel Bomb as well. Going to land on a 2, and the stun over top as well, but they're just, without Fangs, they don't have the damage. Rondo is going to get taken down in return. With the Frozen Punisher, so hard to fight into that. But Your Majesty and Fangs, that's where their DPS is. So without those two, they really cannot be fighting. And they're actually pushing beyond the fort. The fort still isn't down, and they're aiming towards the wall. Your Majesty could look for the play here. But Michaelin gonna fish, but not going to be able to get anything out of it. But Fangs walking forward, actually trying to save this fort. And you know what? They might be able to. I think they will. So by going for that wall instead, the fort is going to be saved. Army of the US might be looking for a play, and the jet propulsion does land onto Fangs, and with the oil slick gonna be slowed as well. The bunker gonna get thrown out as well. Swipe gonna get utilized just to reset the fight a little bit. And now Krinivast goes in again, and I respect that, but I don't know. Yeah, Rano is gonna be able to get that kill, and now the Invulnerable over top, but they have the stun. They're able to take down their healer as well. The Michaelin with the Maelstrom dealing so much damage. Rano gotta get finished off. So it's a 2-4-2 so far. Now Sailor Twift versus Fangs. And yeah, another 2-4-2. Level 16s now coming out for Daddy Shams Cat Lounge. But the Kerrigan dealing so much damage and has so much priority in this game. But the auto attacks are coming through from Fangs. Slowing Stance gonna get utilized here as well. And Sailor Twift just needs a couple more autos. Fangs super low as well. And neither side can really keep playing onto this. They're both just fighting with their full HP bars. And I don't think I've ever seen such a min-max of health in any team fight before. So they're doing a great job on that. But level 16 still not up for Ground Up. They will need 1, maybe 2 more waves before they can get that extra talent for themselves. And I think even just the stats of level 16 actually would have gotten them an extra kill or 2 there, as the talents do come through. Now there is a bit of a wave building up, and it looks like this siege camp is the next target for Daddy Shams Cat Lounge. A single siege camp isn't that big a deal, so I don't expect Ground Up to try and force for it. They're just going to be taking their own safe one. Gonna get hit by the vision bird thingy. Oh, but we do have a time trap, and that's going to take down Fangs. Fangs actually looks for it. And that's going to be an extra kill for Daddy Shams Cat Lounge. Level 17 about to get hit, but again, doesn't really matter. But they've been able to get themselves so many picks, and it's so hard to teamfight into double healer. There's definitely positions where they can fight, but almost every winning teamfight from Ground Up has started with a pick. If they're able to pick someone from the start, then they can really continue forward in the fight. Their Majesty gonna be clearing that top wave and should be able to get a little bit of damage over on this fort with this. But there's gonna be a lot of damage over in the mid lane fort, as 4 members of Daddy Shams Cat Lounge are just pushing in. Now, Michaelin not going to get hit by the stun, and as they will clear away the wave. There's a pretty big wave with the siege camp pushing over the bot side. So they are going to have to deal with that. They're going to send Fangs as soon as they respawn. And with a twin rotation, I believe they get 3 rotations at full stacks here, so, unless there's a UI bug, but I doubt it. Hots is usually pretty good with that stuff. But the next shrine has spawned, and this is where the next team fight is going to be. Sir Noble is seen. The Hand of Justice does land. And look at that double stun coming through, and the grab bomb over top of everyone. Do they have any follow-up? No, they don't. Army of the US is going to be the first one to go down. Rondo going to get stunned over top, and will be the second to follow. Now Fangs trying to run away, and the jet propulsion will land. Taz Dingo can't even get cast. And that's a 3-0 for Daddy Sham's Cat Lounge. And they're looking really good this game. And in this series, they did have a little bit of a mistake in game number 1 in the mid game. They were able to bring it back, but they're looking really strong in this game number 2. Whenever they're able to get a team fight started on their terms, they do not lose it. But now they're finishing off the gate for this bottom keep, and they have the siege camp pushing in mid lane, so that fort's likely going to go down as well. As Your Majesty not going to get hit by the jet propulsion. I clicked away at the worst time there. But they still have the push, and they have the Mortar Punisher coming up into this bottom lane as well. So if they're able to start this push, as the Shifting Sand's going to get hit, but Your Majesty is going to be okay. They're trying to throw down some poke. They're trying to slow down their push at least a little bit. Baranmo looking for the play, and they have the taunt onto Michaelin. And Michaelin going to get hit with the Lurkin Arm as well, and one last hit from the fort will be enough. But Rondo goes down as well, so it's a 1-for-1. But the health bar is actually favoring ground up, but they don't have a Mortar Punisher like Daddy Shams does. And now Krenavest is going to be going in, gonna get slowed, throws down the bunker as well. And Your Majesty gonna get sniped with the Dragon's Breath. And now the Nyx is gonna get hit by the Mortar Punisher. Do they have any kind of follow-up? Chernobyl trying to get the stun, but not going to be able to. But that's still an extra kill they've got for themselves. And Dragon's Breath almost taking down Fangs. And now the Mortar Punisher is going to go down, but will take the Zul'jin. Fangs is going to go down here as well, so they could look to end the game now. It's a 4v2, gonna be 4v3, but it doesn't matter. With the Mortar Punisher, they're gonna get the 2-0 and the domination and the first place for Division B East. And I'm actually a little bit surprised. That ended quite abruptly, in my opinion. But well played from both of these two teams. They were able to get themselves a really solid win. They were able to play really cleanly in this second game especially. So you got to give them a lot of credit for that. Now, with that being said, that is going to be the end of the first series of the day. But since it was a 2-0, I will be picking up another series between Heavy Hitters and Boomer Gaming for the Heroic Division. So I will be going to a break after this, but do I have any of them added? I think I do have Chernobyl added. Let's see if we can get an interview. I don't know if I can, but don't see them online on BattleNet. I'm just going to toss a message in the Discord, see if any of them are going to join up. So we'll see if anyone does want to do that. But either way, we are going to be having another series here in about 20 minutes. I'll probably go on a short break between that just to get set up and all that. Master Noble said they will. Okay, perfect. Let me just get that sound set up. I guess I'll move over to this screen. Hello, hello. Give me one moment.
Oh, should stop.
Okay, you're all good. Sorry, just making sure everyone could hear you. So, congratulations on your victory.
Yeah. Quite nice to start the season with that.
Yeah. And with this, that gives you 4 points. So I believe this does put you into first place of Div B East for now.
Baby.
Yeah, there are going to be a couple more games, but I believe the other games have been 2-1 so far. So with the only domination, that will put you in first place.
Let's just call the season right here. We've determined the best team. It's us.
Okay, you heard it here first, folks. Division B East is now done. Every other game is just for exhibition. How did
It
you
was just a
feel about the
scrim.
win?
Oh, great, great, great. It was. I I will say we were scared in that second game. That Oriole was just doing such big heals because the quest just got like super high, I guess. And we were so happy when we won that game because we were like very concerned and scared in that one. And then
Yeah.
it was nice, like the second game felt much cleaner for us compared to that first one, and that was just. But yeah, winning that first game felt really nice because we were scared of the Oriole.
Yeah, I mean, I saw how quickly you banned that away in game number 2, but to talk more about game number 1, I'd like to ask, how are the mentals and the comms? Because at one point, Ground Up did look like they were going to bring that game right back.
Honestly, like it was fine. Like we didn't we weren't like most bubbly that we are like happy like go lucky like we are sometimes in that point. We were kind of more just a focused in kind of thing. And we kind of kept our cool and just were like, oh, that just happened. We'll deal with it, and then it worked out. We just figured it out, kind of made a few small adjustments and figured it out, and yeah, nothing really got too bad, which was good.
Yeah, being able to bring it back, always a good feeling. It was a very back and forth game 1.
Yeah.
But now about game 2, tell me about the double healer comp.
We have someone that loves to have an empowered Kerrigan. So he loves being that D shield target for his Kerrigan.
Yeah, I noticed that with the Maelstrom and the Divine Shield at the same time. Just so difficult to play into.
Yeah, like I love a tank Uther. I like kind of more of those weirder tanks, and tank Uther is one of my favorites. So I feel like this comp was kind of born from me being like, "Hey, drafter, give me tank Uther," and he's like, "Okay." And this is kind of the result of that.
That's the full communication. So there wasn't even really like a plan going in. That's just something you felt like picking up in the moment.
Oh, well, I guess like no, like this is like preseason chat, not right here.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that makes more sense.
But yeah, I feel like the idea of that draft has come from me being like, I want to tank Uther.
That sounds good. Well, I need to start getting set up because I will be doing a back-to-back cast here. But before I go, I wanted to ask, is there anything you want to tell all your fans?
All I have to say is, I am Sir Noble, also known as Sir I'm the Best. I'm the best on our team.
Perfect.
And thank you for watching.
Yeah.
And thanks for the cast.
Yeah, and thank you for the interview, and congrats again on your win. I'll be heading out.
Thanks. See ya.
Well, you heard it here first. They've already won Division B East, and Sir Noble is the best player. I don't know if that was the best player of the team, best player in HOTS, but either way, I agree. So with that, I would like to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Matchmasters. Matchmasters is a free match 3 competitive puzzle game. It is mostly in 1v1 format, though there is 1v1v1v1 up to 8 people.